Brother Ronnie had asked me a while back if I would want to fill in for him on Wednesday night when he's not able to be here. And I think before he even finished talking to me about it, the first thing that popped in my head is I wanted to talk about mental health. So I've been working, researching, getting stuff together, and hopefully somebody might gain some knowledge or whatnot out of this. So I guess I'm gonna, hopefully I don't cut it too short. I worked on it till kind of late last night, and I dreamt about it. I didn't sleep good. And then when I got to work this morning, I went over it with Glenn at work after we did our safety meeting, and I was like, no, too short. I gotta make this longer. So I got another page worth of stuff. It sounds like a lot. It's only 4 pages, but I got some stats and some scripture, and here we go. Did you know?
No.
Did you know May is Mental Health Awareness Month? I literally just found this out a couple days ago. Of course it's my birth month. Alright, joking aside, mental health is a core component of a person's well-being. People that struggle with their mental health are actually more susceptible to long-lasting chronic conditions, just as the presence of those conditions can make them more susceptible to mental illnesses. Depression, anxiety, fear, those are just some of the more common mental issues we deal with, just to name a few. Mental issues are not biased either. They affect everybody. Children, teens, grown-ups, doesn't matter. It gets everybody. That's part of the reason Glenn's class is out here today. Hopefully y'all can bring something home with you. I myself have had many a dark day dealing with my mental health over the years. Even the good days proved to be rough from time to time, which is in part why I felt so strongly about talking about this. Even though a lot of people would try to avoid the subject. A lot of people don't like to face their fears or things like that. So some few little stats I found. I don't know if you knew this, but more than 1 in 5 adults in the U.S. live with some form of mental illness. That's over 20% of the adult U.S. population, or roughly 52 million people, or adults.
That's scary.
That is very scary, and it's trending upwards too. Like, it gets worse every year. I'm willing to bet someone here is either fighting with it or knows somebody who is. Adults deal with the stresses of work, parenting, providing for their families. These overwhelming pressures can get to us sometimes, and mostly people try to ignore the building tensions, keep it to themselves.
If they keep it to themselves, they feel safe. If they don't tell anybody about it, it doesn't exist.
Out of sight, out of mind.
And actually, they're falling into a black hole.
Right? Potentially making things worse. Not just adults, though. Teens in particular have a lot to deal with at school and with friends, with peer pressure, and they got all this drama they have to deal with. He said, she said, this person, that person. It's to adults it can seem kind of like, but for the most part, that's their world they're living with. And the modern world is pretty rough. So, but just like with adults, there's more than 1 in 5 teenagers that deal with a mental illness, and most of them, again, keep it to themselves. Depression, anxiety is leading among adolescents. They, they don't have the cool clothes, or this item, or this device, or whatever. They get judged by their peers for pointless reasons, and they feel it. So we got to watch out for these. Help guide them to their help. Let them know the Lord is always here for them. Also, He's always here for us adults as well. Don't ever forget that. Did you know? You can have strong faith and weak mental health, just like you can have strong faith and weak physical health. God knows that these are both a result of a person's biology, or merely events of life that has caused them to be in that situation. There's no shame in it. It's a struggle. Some people have it worse than others. You could have like simple little anxiety attacks over little things, or you could be dealing with full schizophrenia or PTSD, or those are some major mental illnesses that people have to fight with on a daily basis. The serious stuff, and the not so serious, really. If you need to seek professional help, or if you know somebody that needs professional help, help them. Do not hesitate to get help. God gave the doctors and such their talents and knowledge for a reason. So, does the Bible mention mental health? I read several articles, cross-referenced all kinds of stuff, trying to decipher things and figure this out. So, when the Bible was written many, many moons ago, our understanding of mental health or mental illness, as well as our ability to describe such things, were very limited in comparison to the things now known in modern times. That being said, the Lord understood the impact our own minds could have on us and left us guidance in the Bible. If y'all want to follow along, I'm about to start bringing up some scriptures. 1 Peter 5:7. Probably have heard it before. Casting all your care upon Him, for He careth for you. That's a pretty common one that comes up, especially with this subject. This verse tells us how concerned God is for our mental state, and wants us to put our anxieties and worries on Him so He might lift the weight from us. We need only speak to Him, only to ask. So in my dealings with mental health, I fought depression constantly for years. I hated myself for so long, and for no good reason, really. I just always felt like insignificant or nothing, not worth it. But I'm gonna tell you, when I surrendered, suddenly I finally started to love myself. Coming here, becoming a member of this church, accepting the Lord into my life has been the best thing that has ever happened to me. No offense. At least for my mental health. I did not like myself at all. And I couldn't really give you a real reason other than I felt like that's how I was supposed to be. I had hurt myself in the past. I've done some things. I hope I'm not getting too serious for everybody right now too. It's gonna lighten towards the end. God is good. He's given so much to me in such a short amount of time I never knew how much I needed. So, many things in life can shape or structure our minds, but one thing for certain, God has our back. There are many guidelines within the Bible to help keep our minds in check. So, Philippians 4:8, it reads, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." As a reminder of how our thoughts affect us, we need to focus on the positivity of God's work within our lives. Allowing ourselves to fill up and harbor negative thoughts only relinquishes our self-control and fuels the mental illnesses, problems that we deal with. Proverbs 25:28. "He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls." Be with God in these times. Reach out to Him to protect us from the devil in our moments of weakness. We all know the devil is ready to attack when our walls go down. Don't give him a chance to multiply your sorrow. So, who had mental health problems in the Bible? Surprise, surprise, we are all flawed. Even some of the people we admire within the Bible. Does everybody know Elijah? Wonderful prophet of God that achieved amazing miracles. But in 1 Kings 19:4, it reads, But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, Is it enough now, O Lord? Take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. Even with everything he did in his life, he got overwhelmed, scared, and felt like he had become useless, like he wasn't serving the Lord like he should. So he begged for his own death. That's clearly depression. King David, described as a man after God's own heart. He also was flawed and had issues of the mind that he had to deal with. Psalms 55:4-5, he wrote, My heart is sore pained within me, and the terrors of death are fallen upon me. Fearfulness and trembling are come upon me, and horror hath overwhelmed me. I feel a lot of pain in that. A lot of anxiety, a lot of just depression. Depression seems to be a key. That's the most common one that everyone deals with, really, in some shape or form. But out of that pain, can you feel it? A lot of times, you might have to read over something a few times to really see the message that's hidden under there. There's layers upon layers in most all scriptures, you know. So how do we combat mental illness? Well, there are many things that we can do to combat mental illness. First and foremost, pray. Pray, and pray some more. And when you're done praying, pray again. Anytime, any day, anywhere, be with God. Gives a number one line of defense against our own minds. Self-care is also important. If we're to maintain and improve our mental state, we have to rein in our control of ourselves. Resting and relaxing are great at aiding that mental recharge we all need. In Mark 6:31, And And he said unto them, Come ye yourselves apart into a desert place, and rest a while. For there were many coming and going, and they had no leisure so much as to eat. Jesus took his disciples to gain rest and relaxation in order to help them recharge from fatigue that they were experiencing due to all the great work they were doing. They had to get away from the hustle and bustle of all the people around and just take a moment for themselves. I hope I'm not going too fast. God also wants us to support each other when needed. Sometimes we just need to be heard and understood. Sometimes we might want advice. And sometimes we just need a shoulder to cry on. Release your sorrow with somebody that you trust and care for. Galatians 6:2. Bear ye one another's burdens, and so fulfill the law of Christ. That's all about sharing your problems with others. 1 Thessalonians 5:11. Wherefore comfort yourselves together and edify one another, even as ye do. Be at peace. Same thing. Be with supportive people. You should always reach out to God in these times, but you can also reach out to your support network, family, which includes the church, because that's an extension of our family. And friends, they're your allies in this fight. So, hopefully I haven't gotten too serious for everybody. But you got a question?
What was the second verse?
The second verse.
1 Thessalonians 5:11.
They're following. I'm making sure.
It's not easy.
It's really hard.
Jeff, this year that you're going through this because I take care of her. She's a woman now. She's 40. She just turned 48. When she was born, they didn't think she would make past 2 years old. She has cerebral palsy. She's bedridden. She is now 48. And she goes through all depression,
Oh, yeah.
all of that. And we talk, let me tell you, she can tell you anything about the Bible. She knows cover to cover.
So that's the one that Brother Ronnie gave?
Yeah, communion too, and Brother Ronnie and Miss Peggy came and gave her communion. She asked to be baptized, and she wants to join the church. Although she can't come, but she wants to belong to the church. So, they're working on that.
I'm sure they'll figure out something.
She goes through all that you just mentioned, and we sit and we talk about things like that, and, things that she's going through.
Just talking to her, you're helping her. Whether you realize it or not. If she just being able to tell you how she feels about things, that's a load off, It's what a lot of people talk to somebody if you have problems. Kids especially. Talk to somebody. Now, I see you back there. Talk. There's no shame in having these problems. This is sadly, it's become a part of life, really. The way the world functions and everything, it's not how it should be. It's not how we want it to be. But
She's had about 20, I think, people have died in her family that she could not go to funerals for. And her dad was, I think, 2 years ago, he passed away. And she is more depressed about that than anything.
Losing a loved one that's a trigger. Bring depression, and then anxiety. I've noticed, and this is not in here, but I've noticed I give myself little anxiety attacks all the time for no reason. Like just pointless. I'm just like, oh, okay, that's okay. I don't know. This is goofy. I don't, but that's just me. Anyway, you get back on track.
Our worker do that to you, Joe.
It's like my phone rings in my office. I'm like, oh, okay. Hey, Glenn, you know. I know that sounds silly, but I have no real reason to be getting anxious about it, but, you know, I just don't want bad news on the phone, bad news, or somebody call on the radio, bad news, you know. Y'all know how it is, right? Yeah, right? Yeah. Okay. All right, Musty, we gotta lighten it up a little bit. Yes, ma'am.
I retired from Akron Children's Pediatric Hospital in Akron, Ohio, 5 years ago. Moved down in that July of 2019. In our pediatric emergency department, we have inside of a behavioral unit. And 85% of the kids that came in were depressed and wanted to take their lives.
Yes.
85% wanted to take their lives.
Yes.
And the one thing I learned, if a child has a plan, you better act on it.
Right.
And that is true with adults. A week ago, I have a 4-year-old niece in Ohio. At 18, her mom passed away. Her parents had been divorced. She went out of college, so she had something to take her time. She graduated, valedictorian, top of her class, became a teacher. Fell in love with a young man, fell very much in love and got married. Well, 2 summers ago, that marriage started having some serious issues. He was removed from the home last September. And my niece and I have been talking at length. And, you know, I know a little bit about a lot of things, and I don't know anything about the rest. But one thing I do know is someone is having problems, and they keep reaching out to you, be there. Listen. And listen carefully. Well, just the other day, she told me that she's realized this is it. Any medication they've tried putting her on, it's not working. She doesn't like the side effects. So she's just gonna take her life. And I asked her, do you have a plan? She said, yeah, actually, I talked to my girlfriend's husband, told her I wanted to go target practice, and asked him what gun he would recommend. So he told her Smith & Wesson 500. He said, you gonna go target practice then? She's like, no. I'll take my life tomorrow, okay? I said, Kelly, do you realize what you're saying? How can you be that sad? Why did you call me to talk? So at the end of an hour-and-a-half conversation, I told her, I'm gonna hang up and pray, and I expect you to answer my phone tomorrow. Tried to talk her to go to the local, behavioral place. And she said, well, why did I do that? And then my husband would find out. I said, the reason to go to a behavioral institution is to get help. If your husband's attorney found out, that's a good thing, you're trying to improve this. She said, no, it's just better than I just take care of it. So I hung up from that phone call, and I called my friend Barbara, who's the charge nurse in the ER where I worked. She's also retired. I said, what's that hotline for suicide prevention? She said, who's it for? I said, my niece. She said, if you feel you need to call, absolutely call, but they are gonna follow up on you, her, people in the family, and that they can follow up on a lot. So I called, and I was on the phone for a little over an hour. While I was on the phone, they had already dispatched EMS and a suicide, hotline person.
Kind of like a
To their
suicide
home.
watch or
No, somebody from,
like a counselor.
Yeah.
Somebody talk to them.
somebody who is a legal counselor in the fire department, and, because they didn't know she had got in the house, they said she planned on dying tomorrow. And of course, she was furious, the person wouldn't let them in, well, they're allowed to break the door down, but they think they're gonna do,
Absolutely.
So they did, and, they were there until 6 o'clock in the morning. And the this all started in the market. So they talked her down. But in my heart, I know I did the right thing. The next day, she called me, tried calling me out, and I said, you could call me any name you want. I'll call 100 times more if I feel like it.
Absolutely.
You know, her dad called me and thought he could help me, and I said, no. When's the last time you've been to church? When's the last time you've seen your daughter? You need to clean your own house. I did. I'm trying to save it on my floor.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough. It affects the whole.
Yep. People going through depression, they get locked in on what they're dealing with. And, you know, I know that's the hard part, but it's everybody around them that gets affected by the aftermath.
Exactly.
You know, that's something that's not thought about. And, you know, in their condition, I imagine, you know, I'm gonna be gone, I don't have to worry about it type.
And that's what she said to me.
Right?
You know, and I told her, I said, you're taking your life, you're gonna go to hell. Is it worth burning for eternity?
Right.
And she said, well, I don't think my God is gonna let that happen to me while I'm telling you. You know, so I don't know. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Back in my really bad times, I cut myself, I hit myself, I did a lot of things, you know, because all my hate was inward, you know, on myself. I ended up in a bathtub one night because I'm gonna stop because kids started to show up, the little kids. Okay.
She wouldn't go out the back door.
It had to be difficult, huh?
Close the door, Daddy.
Anyway, there was one time I had a metal rack. I just started hitting myself on the head and ended up in the bathtub, bleeding all over the place. I did some bad things to myself. I hurt myself. My oldest, when she was born, I kind of got a reality check. She was the one that got me thinking, okay, it's not about me anymore. I have somebody that depends on me now, you know. I love all my kids, even if they're a pain. So most of y'all out here might know me as a bit of a goofball. I'm very sarcastic. I'm a little witty. But
We love that goofball.
I enjoy seeing others smile. That's one thing that's kept me going for a long time. So I result to humor on a daily basis. You can, Glenn knows, he has to deal with it. He rolls his eyes at me an awful lot.
Good bit.
Courtney, you definitely know it. You probably get the brunt of it. My kids know it 100%. But humor is another of God's gifts to help us combat our mental state and maintain our sanity just a little bit. Or a lot of it. Just depends on how funny you are, I guess. Proverbs 15:13. A merry heart maketh a cheerful countenance, with sorrow of the heart the spirit is broken. That's talking about humor, laughter. Proverbs 17:22. Excuse me. Very similar. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. As simple as it may be, laughter is a powerful weapon against mental illness. Some of my worst days, somebody could say something to make me laugh, and it just can help you snap out of whatever rut you're in. The joy of laughter reassures that life can be enjoyable. even when it feels like it can't be. There's no joy left. Laugh a little bit, you find that joy again. So even if you don't actually laugh, I don't know if you knew this, a smile alone will change your whole outlook. Just you know, it will help brighten your day, make you feel more positive about everything in general. This joy will cause an emotional change that can help ease the mind of stress and worries. It will actually cause you to see things in a different, more positive light. A solid relationship with God will provide you with some of the greatest joys of your life. But a little laughter in your life can't hurt either. Everybody likes to laugh. Even if they say they don't like to laugh, they like to laugh. So, to make things a little funnier, to get a little smiling and laughter out of here, I have a few, just a few corny little jokes I'm going to tell y'all. Glenn's already heard some of it. You might have heard all of them, actually.
I heard them all.
There it is. Joy. So, I ask you a question. What kind of car do you think Jesus would drive?
Air. Air.
Go ahead, Glenn.
A Chrysler.
Do you need a boat? I know a guy.
Noah. Noah.
I know a guy.
Don't put your dates out.
Please.
I can't. Do you know what time of day God created Adam?
Morning.
Eve.
Just before Eve. All right, I got one more for you. Do you know what they call a pastor in Germany?
Let me try to guess.
Running anymore. I didn't say that.
German shepherds. What time we got?
6:52.
All right, well, that's all I really had.
One more joke.
I
didn't laugh.
You got a joke?
I didn't laugh at it.
You didn't laugh. Go stand in the corner. Oh, that's all I got. I wrote this, then I rewrote it, and I was afraid that didn't have enough, and then I was afraid that I might have too much, and then again that I didn't have enough. So I hope that everybody got a little something out of it, and I wrote a little prayer to say, a little short thing just to close it out. If anybody's got anything.
Comment what Patricia was saying. We had a grandson at our house one night, and about 1 o'clock in the morning, he's talking to some girl on the phone, and the guy was on the phone too, like a three-way deal. Well, the girl wanted to take the other guy, and I'm a grandson, so my grandson made a boy that he was going to kill himself. Well, about 1 o'clock in the morning, I heard somebody banging on the door, went to the door, and all I seen was blue lights flashing everywhere. They must have 5 or 6 cop cars up there, an ambulance was up there, fire department, everybody. That's how fast they're coming. I'm telling you. And you can not open your mouth. Cause I was getting on my grandson for doing it, he'd been there sleeping. Cause he was student next day, he'd been there trying to kill himself. The cops looked at me, point blank, and said, "You need to shut your mouth and get out. We don't need this."
Hey,
Wow.
hang on, let me step
So
outside. Hang on.
they're coming quick for you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, they had 2 police, they had an ambulance,
Yeah.
they wanted to take her, and she refused.
Well, they took my grandson. Okay,
Okay, go ahead.
my daughter couldn't even say anything. His mama couldn't say anything, they took him and brought him to the hospital, kept him overnight for evaluation. It's serious.
Now they're married and
Getting he's married and
doing very
living
well.
in Tennessee, doing real good.
That's wonderful.
Going to church up there, you know?
Well, who called the people who came?